Hello everybody and welcome back to KSP POV, where we play Kerbal Space Program in first person. No time to be messing around with the title screen. We got one heck of an episode today. In the last episode, the KXP crowd sunk a deep sea laboratory down over in the waters over there, over by them, but nonetheless out in the waters. That gives us the opportunity to create a submarine, which I'm going to be showing you shortly, and then for the first half of the episode we are actually going to build it. It's been a little bit since I've done a build in POV, simply because most of our missions end up taking so much to do the actual mission in first person that I'd like to dedicate the time to that. So I've just basically just been like, hey, here's the rocket, it's got a lot of stuff, took a lot of time to build, but let's go do it. And then that was about it. But today we're actually going to build the submarine. I banged my head against my keyboard so much to get this thing to work. It was a lot of testing, retesting, hours of footage, just over and over, trying different mods. We did end up being successful, particularly from one mod, which was the ballast nuclear submarine mod. It is outdated, but so far we've had no problems with that. But we also use the Sunk Works mod for some other parts, and I'll get into that later. But without any further ado, let's build ourselves a submersible and put the C in KSP. Okay, so here we are at the spaceplane hangar. We want to build sort of like a rover, and as you see here, we've got the Eve sub 0.5 all the way to the Eve sub 4, and then the Kerbin sub 1 through 3, and thankfully it was the third iteration, but I don't know if you can see it, but I went through some times to try to make it real small at other times. One of the big challenges we're dealing with is we are playing with TAC life support, so we got to make sure we keep our kerbals alive while they're under the water. So this is the design that I kind of settled with. We're gonna make a few changes here. It's got a drill attached to it, so it could refuel at the bottom. But I'm actually going to be foregoing that and just kind of packing on more fuel, because it's the Drillmatics, and then this Convertitron take up a lot of space here, so we can actually just pack on a little bit more fuel, because all we need to do is get to our destination. But ultimately, let's retract these gears, because that's the submarine. The gears are just there to keep it from banging against the bottom and breaking the bottom of the sub. But this is going to be our submarine, and it's not going to be exactly this, because like I mentioned before, I'm going to be building it. I recorded all of the process, the building process of making the sub, but it spanned over the course of many recordings, many test flights, many different iteration changes, moving pieces from one place to the other, fine-tuning, that sort of thing. It would kind of be impossible to really track the whole progress of this thing, especially with all those other iterations that I showed you. It's like I learned a lot through each of them. You know, we spent a lot of time building this, and footage that we'll just never be able to use for this episode, but all of that was spent learning what we needed to learn. So with that said, let's see how well I can recreate that on the fly, make a working submarine, and get going. So first off, we are going to be using the ERS Bravo cabin from the Exploration Rover system by ASET. I love this interior. I think it's the best kind of rover, and I want to use it because this is IVA after all. But however, I think the links from the Feline Rover system mod as well, I think this is actually just a superior rover. However, the cockpit, I just don't like the IVA as much. So we are going to put on our mobile laboratory right there. And then a docking, where is the docking port? Docking module, right there. And then we are going to put on our life support module right there. And as we bring up our life support build aid, that gives us, let's see, let's get our crew in there. Yeah, we're going to want 4 people. We're all good. So with current crew, that gives us 1 year, 4 days of food, and then less than a year of water and oxygen. So we're actually going to turn down the amount of food, I think. There we go. So now that's relatively even. 267 days worth of, or 259, because that's our minimum oxygen. That's our minimum. You know what? Let's see. Can I get closer to that? No. All right, we'll leave it at that. So 259 days worth of oxygen and electricity. However, it doesn't have any canisters for waste, so we're going to go into here and grab a 1.25 waste container. There we are. And then turn it like this. And we are just going to clip it inside. There's going to be a lot of clipping in this build, so if that is hurts your eyes, please look away. The sub it's dangerous and full of parts inside of parts. But you know what? I feel like if we're gonna say that we packed all these life supplies in here, I feel like we would leave space for the trash. So we're gonna say that it's stuffed in the walls around the outside of it. But, oh boy, there's going to be some more clipping. All right, moving on. Let's get back to the rover side. We want to have some science here. And for that, we're going to need, let's see. There's a freight container, docking bay. No, that's the ore. Oh, that's what I would have needed for that previous one. That's the reason why I took the Drill-O-Matic off there, is because I was having problems with it. When we eventually send this craft to Eve, we'll probably reconsider that and put maybe a smaller ore tank there. But for now, we're going to forego it because we're on Kerbin. We don't need to refuel over and over again. Like I mentioned in the last episode, in the KXP episode, the goal is to send this to Eve. And for that, I'm trying to find something in particular, but I'm talking through and I'm just probably missing it entirely. But the goal is to send it to Eve and travel around there. Service bay, right? Service bay? I think so, yep. So I can put science in there. Perfect. So, we are going to need an upgraded craft. It's probably going to need more life support. It's probably going to need more crew cabins, maybe even some cryogenic storage capabilities. There we go. All right, so let's load this up with, actually got smaller goo container. We're going to load this up with all the science we can get and store it in our science lab, which is right here. We can put 2 scientists in there and process. It can only process 100 points of data at a time, so you have to do it a little more often, but nonetheless, it'll be good. And we're just taking this to the deep sea laboratory to continue the work. There's our micro goo pod, and we're gonna get one of these in there. Let's see, any more science that we can grab? I don't want a magnetometer boom, as much as that would be good science to get. It's unwieldy, it sticks out, don't like it. Okay, I may want some of those surface science in there. So let's go on to this side over here. So that's definitely going to clip through that, but that should be able to grab some science from the ground. And what about these lasers? It's not going to be possible. That might be possible. We're going to have to test that once we get there. But I think that might be all I can really do for my science. I could have a scanning arm on here, but I don't think there's anything to scan under the water, unfortunately. So as cool as that would be, I would love to have that, but that is not necessary. Okay, let's see what else we can put in here. I think I'm going to put... Ooh, that is way too big. I think I'm going to put a couple reserve battery packs in there just to utilize that space a little bit, and we're not going to have very many reserve battery packs elsewhere. Not going to have a lot of reserve battery in general, so maybe we'll put a little light in here. Yeah, so when when I open these doors to do the science, this will go. There we go. And I do actually want a way of collecting the science. No, I don't need a way of collecting the science. We're just going to put it in the lab. Okay, we're all good. So let's close these bays for now. And let's get some fuel in here. Take this rear fuel tank there, but we're also going to have the one here. This is a small fuel tank. What does a large fuel tank look like? There we go. Yeah, you know what? It does make it a little bit longer than the previous craft. Especially having this, it didn't have this service bay in here. You know what? This was probably the length of the previous craft, but it also had a smaller fuel tank, and it was spending all this space using a convertitron and what have you. So this is a little bit longer, but it gives us more fuel. We don't have a Delta V emitter. Gives us more fuel, and that is going to be important because we can get rid of the oxidizer in there. That is important because we are going to be using this fuel to recharge our batteries, because unfortunately the solar panels underwater are pretty inefficient. All right, so let's continue on. We are going to, let's get our ballast in place first. This is the meat and potatoes of the submarine, and ultimately most important part. So let's sort by size, and we got to find the one, it's a particular one from the mod nuclear or ballast nuclear submarine. And if you search ballast, you don't find it, unfortunately. So you have to kind of pick through the parts, and it's not named anything special. So you just have to find the one that has the opportunity to hold ballast as a resource. There we go. Ballast tank. I swear. Let me see. I swear, if you type ballast in here. Oh. Those words are tasty. I will eat them shortly. But anyways, here we are. It is very important to center this. So we're going to put one up front and one back here. There we go. Very important to center those, as that will keep us balanced. And this is the mod that ultimately made all of those hours testing and retesting. I had the moist mod installed, which has these intake valves and liquid thrusters and ballast, and it's a process of opening and closing. Basically, in order to get a submarine under the water, you have to give it enough weight to go below the surface, but you also want to make sure that it's not so much weight that you end up crashing. And there was a lot of crashing in this test, so in the making of this submarine, and so learned some valuable lessons. Can I get this on there? I don't know if I can get that on there anymore. Let's see. I'll put it that way. There we go. And put that back there. All right, perfect. There you go, a little bit of aerodynamics there. And we are going to go ahead and clip that into... Actually, before we clip that, let's go ahead and load that up with some batteries. This is going to store all of our power. Ooh, those batteries are very small. We're going to use the bigger size. Yeah. Unfortunately, this craft is quite considerably power hungry. The engines, everything involved in it. And so the biggest capacity that we can hold, the better, because it means that we can travel for longer before we have to stop and recharge. Okay, so that is all going to be there. Let's go ahead and put that up there. Get this one tucked in there as well. Should probably put it on the same axis. There we go. We could actually probably tuck these in a little bit. There we go. That looks nice. All right. Once again, not very realistic. I know these batteries will be taking up space, but you know, I want to make this sleek and clean. So I typically don't do this much. I think I'm mainly apologizing to myself right now because I don't typically do this much clipping, but it was worth it. It was worth this, seeing this design come together. All right. So we are also going to add on some Oscar fuel tanks here. We don't necessarily need these. The ballast now takes care of. This is relics from when we would have to fill it with liquids. And as you see here, we would fill that with liquids and that would drop. But this can hold 1,000 liquids, and you really only need like 15, 20 liquids to get this thing under the water. So disastrous. A lot of disasters here. But I like the look of it. And so, yeah, so we're going to keep going with it. Let's give these some cones as well for good hydrodynamics. Scoot that back again. I don't want to block that window too much because we actually can look out of there. Okay, that looks good. All right. All that's good. Okay, so now let's get our engine on because everyone loves an engine. Is this the right size? Wow. How did I just grab that right off the bat? So this is from the Sunk Works, which is also crucial in this. I really liked this mod. It too has ballast control valve. However, this also proved to be quite the challenge. It was quite the headache trying to get everything balanced right. And the thing is it's actually not that hard of a mod. This is no disrespect to this mod or Moist. The thing is that those mods are primarily controlled through the menus and the right click. You right click on the part and you control it through there. And with that, it's actually pretty easy. It's not that hard to make it to get something submerged. The problem is we're playing in IVA, and so that means everything we had to do through action groups, and that was not always the easiest, and sometimes it just didn't work, and so we had to find alternate methods. Want to get solar panels really aren't useful, but I do want to get a couple of them because we are going to be in the sun at a few points in our journey. There we go. Looking nice. All right. So, as you noticed in the beginning of the episode, shoot, we've already been recording for a little while now, had some wings on here, and that was not just for looks, but actually gave us some stability, some control. There we go. I don't want them pointed downwards. There we go, flat. We do need some control surfaces on them. small ones. There we go. And these are going to control both pitch and roll. And then we're going to duplicate those and put them back here, also making sure to make them flat. These ones just need to get brought in a little bit, and those are fine. These ones need to be brought in a little bit, then brought back, so we can have a little better control. There we go. All right, and then we're going to take one of these. Actually, let's just get ourselves a brand new one. There we go. And that is going to handle our yaw. All right. So yeah, so a submarine is kind of like a plane. In fact, in KSP, the jet plane engines actually do work underwater. Typically, without doing this, without the mods that give you the underwater engines, that's how you do it, is you use a jet plane engines. Make sure you have the air in tank, otherwise it won't work. But yeah, basically you want to make sure you can pilot it like an engine or like an airplane. So you have your control surfaces, your pitch, your yaw, your roll. Make it kind of aerodynamic. You have your sleek pointy bits, and that will help you pilot underwater. Okay, so we've done quite a lot here. Let's go ahead and save this, and we're going to name this something nice. We are going to call this... We're going to name this the Argo 1. We're going to name this the Argo 2. You know, out of respect for the original. But that is a reference to Jason and the Argonauts, a figure in mythology. But anyways, I don't want to get off on a tangent there. Let's keep making the submarine. Let's go ahead and save that. This is going to be the Argo 2. Yeah, we'll leave it like that. All right, perfect. Now, moving on, we've got our science in here. We've got our control surfaces, a ballast way, an engine. We've got that. Oh, we do need the liquid fuel cells because I can never find it, so I type it into that. Liquid fuel cell array. And then this is from a mod. I'm kind of blanking on the name of it right now. Yeah, basically it takes liquid fuel and... acts as a fuel cell, so it transfers that into energy. So when we run out of electricity at the bottom of the ocean, and we will inevitably do so, when we do, then we will be able to replenish it using those fuel cells and the fuel tank that we're bringing along. All right, so let's get some cameras because IVA, after all, we are gonna want to be able to see what we're looking at, not just look at nothing. All right, so we're gonna start with one going into the front. We're gonna scoot it back here. That's gonna be what that hydrodynamic point is. Oh, it is not exactly centered. Feel like maybe the camera is not exactly centered. Let's see, because we can always move this around. So the tip of that is there. Let's put it there. So that makes more sense for being centered. Let's put that back up. Makes more sense. And then let's just scooch this in so it's nice and even. Okay. Looking good, looking good. All right, so we can actually put that down a little bit, I think. And we're going to tilt it slightly down to give ourselves a little more of a view of what's to come as far as the surface goes. We're going to want another camera, and I think we're going to put it facing down here, and it's going to straight up be our downwards camera. No, you know what? We're going to put it alongside this one. So we're going to put it there so it can be flat. Oh, that's still not flat. Well, that's fine. It'll do. Oh, so maybe we do a little something like this. Is it sideways too? Is my head crooked? I feel like something's off. There we go. I think that'll work. Hopefully it'll register both of those. And we can move on to lights, because it will be very dark down there. So the best way to put on your lights is to actually bring your craft all the way down here so your kerbals can look at it. How's it doing? Good. And then when you turn on the lights, you can get an actual view of what your lights will be showing. So we are going to need quite the range, quite the cone size, and quite the intensity for these front lights. Let's also rotate them a little bit. Actually, yeah, we could get a little bit wider of a spread this way. And we're gonna sink them in to the craft a little bit. Okay, perfect. Now, what we want are lights going sideways. Also pointed down and bright, wide, far. Perfect. You know what? Let's see if... I doubt it's going to give us another camera. I doubt. But sometimes it does. Let's do another camera this way. It'll go either left or right, but it'll show us a sideways view. That might be fun. All right, cool. So those lights are good. Don't really need backlights for anything. That's all set in order. Let's bring this up. And turn everything back off. Perfect. This might need to come down a little bit. There we go. All right, so now we had some landing gear on this before, and we're gonna want that again. I like these little side landing gears. What's that from? That's from Airplanes Plus. Really like this one. There we go. There we go. We're not going to actually have them there. We're going to actually scooch them up and attach them to the wings like we had before. Like so. That might be a little too... The wings might need to come down a little bit, actually. Yeah. There we go. I like that. And we just to duplicate that. Once again, we're going to have to put these down here to keep them level. Is it right there? No, it's a little higher. There we go. And match these up as well. Now those are tilted. There we go. All right. So we got our landing gears. Good to go. Let's go ahead and we're actually going to have them deployed when we start, but for now let's just keep them retracted so we can keep the mindset of the sub. But before we do anything else, because I desperately need to not forget, we're going to throw 2 Separatrons on right here. I know it's weird, but it'll make sense. It'll make sense shortly. And you know what? There's no need for them to really stick out all that much. They can just be kind of like... All right, no, I don't. Yeah, we'll make them. Well, they can stick out. That's fine. There we go. Yeah, that's right. All right, we'll get to that later. All right, continuing on submarine-wise. We're getting close, everybody. This is actually kind of... I'm trying to make sure that I can think of everything else we're going to need. Oh, that's right, the sonar. Sonar rangefinder. This may end up being more annoying than it's worth, but I still kind of liked it. Gives you a warning, approximate warning distance to the seabed and the coast. Gonna turn the seabed warning on. We don't need the shoal, but turn that on. We'll action group that later. Oh, underwater RCS. Also from the Sunkworks mod. Also very important. So let's say right there and right there. Okay. Looking good, looking good. All right, so that'll activate on RCS, and it's powered by water, so we don't really have to pay attention to anything. We don't... There's sound? There's sound that comes with it? That's so weird. All I was gonna say is we don't need this now because we can always recover our kerbals because they're on Kerbin, but in the Eve sub, we're probably going to want to find a way of including these cryogenic pods because just on the off chance it gets stranded at the bottom of the ocean, we want to make sure those kerbals stay alive. We're going to put a reaction wheel in here. This one's a little too big, right? This one's too big? It might not be too big. I mean, we're just tucking it in here. I mean, when it comes to clipping parts, what even is too big, right? Am I wrong? Right. I just want it to look good. So we could actually maybe pull these out a little bit. We don't need to fit it into any kind of rocket body, so then we push those back. There we go. You know, we don't need a reaction wheel that big. Just undo all of that. We'll put the second largest reaction wheel. There we go. That'll fit a little more neatly. Oh, and before we sink it down, let's go ahead and attach this to the action group that we want. We want this attached to our SAS, toggle reaction wheel. I know that you can just come in here and change it to SAS only, but on my rockets I have my reaction wheel set to my RCS, and so it's just a force of habit to go put it into an action group. But for this, we can just do with... No, you know what? Why not? Let's have it to RCS instead. Because we already have our reaction wheel for our SAS. And honestly, we're going to be having RCS on almost the entire time anyway, so... Just going to line this up with center of mass. There we go. All right. Very close to finishing. In the previous one, I had a little platform for them to stand on when they got out, even though when it's underwater, they don't need anything like this, but I liked it. I thought it added a nice touch. So we're going to put that right there. I don't like how much it's getting... You know what, we could move this forward a little bit. There we go. Tilt it down a little bit. Interesting. Like that. And unfortunately, I don't have any mods that adds any railings. As you saw before, I used the kind of girder parts. Nothing fancy, just like this, just something to keep it up. I don't know that I'm really gonna want to do that. It doesn't really make a difference here. Oh, that's way too big. Put it on this side. I'm gonna leave this spot open to maybe make it a little easier for... No, you know what? I'm not even gonna do that. No, because that will just block them from being able to get back in. Is there anything I can do to make it like a... Oh, that's kind of fun. Let's see, do I like that better than the strut? Sorry, I'm just playing around with an idea now. It's just, we're so close to finishing the build that, I mean, the strut's classic. What's this one? Yeah, no for the fuel duct, and I like this one better. What if I do it like that and like... Yeah, I like that. All right. It does stick out a little bit. Let's see if we can sink that in a couple slots. There we go. Perfect. All right. So we have... Can I put that... Can I get that on there? Yep. There we go. Perfect. It just helps. Everything helps the hydrodynamics. I'll take it. All right. So we got our propulsion, we've got our control, we've got lights, we've got science, we've got life support, we've got power. We don't have communications. That is something. And we don't have control of our camera, apparently. There we go. So we don't really need a whole lot of power for this. This is just the one on Kerbin. We do want enough to transmit. We'll do that. Yeah. We'll move this camera. Get those. One will be Kerbin and one will be mission control. So hopefully that between the both of them, that'll give us enough to transmit back if we need to. Which again, I don't think we're really gonna need to. And that'll do. All right, communications have been taken care of. Now, probably the most important thing we save for nearly last. Let's get our action group set up. Okay, so we want our ballast tanks first. One is going to be to add ballast 1 ton at a time. 2 will be to stop adding ballast. Three is going to be removing ballast 1 ton at a time, and 4 is going to be stop removing ballast. There we go. And we should do that for both of them. All right, so be right back. And I think we're good there. We've got our ballast add and our ballast remove. You know what? Let's add to our abort stage. Remove ballast 10 tons at a time from both of them. So that's kind of like a quick purge of our system. So if for any reason we need to abort, rise to the surface, we can do so. Okay, and now that we have that, let's go ahead and get our gears set up. I think we're going to use our gears to extend and retract our bay doors, because that is, we're going to just do our science on the bottom. Ooh, our science is now blocked by these. Sheesh. Okay, so we are going to just move it temporarily. Just like that, just so we can reach our items. Like I mentioned, if clipping is offensive to you, look away now, because we are stocking everything we can in as much space as we can. Okay, so I believe we're done. Congratulations, everybody. We built a sub together. Okay, so let's go ahead and change this number to 002 because it's the Argo 2. And then I think we're going to take... Oh, yeah. Whoops. Not quite done yet. There we go. Close that. You know, hey, no, we'll keep it. We'll keep it. I was gonna say we don't need that to open, but no, for the sake of realism, if all those science experiments are exposed to the water, that makes more sense. But all right, yeah, let's get our crew aboard. Everyone looks good. Everyone's gonna get a glow suit because this is a fun adventure and probably going to be a dark one. You know, we're going to be underwater. So, Tomden, unfortunately, you are going to be sitting this one out. Get our scientists. Oh, whoops, not Tomden. Gookie. You know what? Let's bring the whole gang. We don't need everybody. We don't need to leave anybody back home. All right. We're going to just do one quick test flight of this. Make sure all the systems work. Make sure all the action groups are on board. And if we forgot anything. And then I will see you shortly. And we'll do this mission for real. All right. So for the sake of fairness, we are going to hire one more engineer. We're going to have 2 pilots, 2 engineers, and 2 scientists aboard. And we don't have too many options. And the options we have aren't the brightest bulbs in the bunch. But out of all of them, one of them stands out to me. And ultimately, I feel is the kerbal for the job. Is it this Zelu with a courage? It's almost out the door. Is it Starry Kerbin with a courage? Oh, full out of the gate. Oh, that is so good, so courageous. No, we are going to go with Shanvin Kerbin with a whopping courage meter of just barely above nothing. And, you know, just as stupid as the rest of them. Zalul, that's stupid. You know what, Zalul, you're hired just for your almost maxed out courage and stupidity. I kind of actually want to hire both of them. But Shanvin, you get the first slot. You are going to be going to the bottom of the ocean in our mission. But we have the money. Zalul, welcome aboard. Starry. Oh, not enough. Not enough. We'll come back for you, Starry. Anyways, let's go ahead and hop back into the VAB. I don't actually think we need to do anything else. I'm pretty happy with the sub as it is, so I will see you on the launch pad and we'll get this mission started. So here we are on the launch pad of the Cove launch site. The KSP gang was kind enough to let us use the site. That's close enough. Technically, it's not even their property, but you know, it's still right here to the original KSC, but the rocket that they launched, the Sea Lab that they put, is somewhere out here. So, you know, the least they could do is allow us to have an easier transport to it. So let's go ahead and hop aboard. Valentina Kerbin in the cockpit. We're gonna go ahead. Thank you, Chatter. We're gonna go ahead and get our screens started the way that we like them. Have heading. This will help us keep an idea of not only how fast we're going, but direction we're facing underwater. Things can get a little disorienting. We are going to need a resources screen. This is quite important. I don't use it a lot in IVA, but today is not that day. Next, we have Tomden Kerbin, the engineer, our smarter engineer anyways, who is going to be also keeping an eye on things here. Yeah, we'll have that one there. Well, apparently that's the only camera that one will take, so we'll take that one. And we'll take that side view. All right, we got a nice little monitoring section. He doesn't really need to do much. Valentina is a capable pilot. Everything that we're gonna need, she can handle. However, he will be in charge of starting and stopping the fuel cells. We don't need an altitude warning or a ground proximity warning or any of that. We've got a good amount of life support. So on to our next kerbal, who is our newly hired Shanvin, who has absolutely no responsibilities. He is just here for the ride, with a courage meter of probably 1, maybe let's say 0.5. he is going to be in for a treat, and the least that he has to do, the better. But he does have responsibility of the fire extinguisher, which he cherishes. It makes him feel better. Now on to our final pilot, our secondary pilot, Agayuki, one of those. She is going to be handling. We don't have a map. Oh, unfortunately, I was assuming that we had a ScanSat up and running, but we do not. So what shall we have you do? You can keep an eye. You can keep an eye on the cameras as well. Valentina's got this. We got next Rowan Kerbin, hard at work in the laboratory, and as well as Joan Nee. They don't have anything to work on, but they have this nice little view as they will descend through the water. We can, of course, hop out of our seat using the free IVA mod and walk around the cabin, as we see here. It's the global processing lab on the inside. Very nice. As we come in here, here is our way out of the craft. We can go ahead and hop out an EVA. And, yeah, I'm kind of glad I brought this little barrier. Keeps us safe. Oh yeah, we could definitely walk off the edge there though. So let's go ahead and hop back aboard. Back to our cockpit. And back in our seat. Okay, get our camera back up. And yeah, I think we're ready to go. We got clearance from the launch pad. We can get started. So, first thing we're going to want to do is start our landing gear. So we have steering rolling capabilities. However, we don't have power to our wheels. Just keep our mission timer up. We don't have power to our wheels, which is where the Separatrons will be coming in handy. So I believe we're all set. Checklists have been done. Let's get... Oh! One last thing. We need to plot in our course. So using the waypoint manager, we have our destination here. Distance of 30 kilometers. Not too bad. All right, let's go ahead and get going. Fire our stage. That gives us just enough pressure or force to push us forward. And now that we're in the water, we can retract our gears. And we're starting our engine, as you see here. It's not the most reliant right now because it does require water input in order to function. So we're going to kind of push our way forward a little bit. All right, that's good. So now what we're going to want to do, actually, let's just change it here. We are going to keep our SAS on, our RCS. All right, we're going to keep a look at our ballast. And we're going to press the one action group, and that's going to slowly fill those tanks at the bottom with water, which will add weight to our craft, allowing us to sink below the surface. And the number we want is 27. There we go. That gives us enough to go below the surface of the water and start to sink, and generally sink, but not enough that we do so uncontrollably. So everybody, welcome to the submersible life, the underwater life. It's a beautiful thing. The seabed floor. All right, so back in Valentina's control. We are just going to keep going. Our ballast is fine. Our electrical charge, as you see, is moving rather quickly. but that is okay. Oh, do we have our altitude warning on still? That's weird. Oh, right here. Oh, speed warning. We don't need that. Anyways, we'll fix that later. Let us go ahead and start to descend. We started to ascend a little bit when we were paying attention to other things. There we go. Starting to see some sea life. All right, let's fix that. Guess it's... Oh, whoa, whoa, okay. Okay, we're just going through some tall kelp. Alright, we're gonna descend further. We can actually tilt it, like I mentioned in the building process. We can fly it like a plane. There we go. So our charge is running out rather fast. So let's go ahead and swatch back over to Thomden. Thank you very much. And start the fuel cell. We now have an output. Oh, there we go. Yeah, there's our warning. Shanvin is not too happy. Ooh, get our landing gear. Oh, that was too fast. Valentina, I'm sorry. I should have left you in control. We're gonna kill that sound for now. I'll deal with it. You don't have to. Let's go ahead and get ourselves down to the seafloor. And we are going to do our first charging session. And this is how we had to do it in our tests. Might need to add a little bit more ballast. There we go. All right. So we are landed. Let's go ahead and throw on our brakes, come to a complete stop, and we're gonna just time warp a little bit until we have a little more electricity. Oh, thank you. Turning off that sound was a blessing. All right, so we're gonna kill our time warp right when we're finished up. That's good. All right, let's just keep going. Turn our brakes off. Let's release a little bit of the ballast back to 27. Well, 26.6 is fine. Turn on our thrusters and go. We're going to keep our fuel cell on. It's just going to keep us from running out of battery too soon, but hopefully our liquid fuel is going to be enough to power it. But let's go ahead and get ourselves turned back towards the direction that we want to go. And we'll cruise. I think we can bring our gear back up and just kind of glide through the water. And we'll just keep pointed this heading, and hopefully we'll get there shortly. Shanvin, of course, has the best view, and with every passing kelp, his heart quickens ever more. So I don't think the kelp shows up on the cameras. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Yeah, so you don't see anything. I feel like we've strayed from our target heading. It was like 199, right? No, I guess not. 189 it says heading to C-Lab, but that is not what we're seeing on our screen. Ooh, not too deep right now. I feel like if we just raised ever so slightly, we would just crest out of the water. You know what? Yeah. How deep are we? Oh, look at this. Oh. Press the wrong button. Oh, I missed it. Oh. How did I do that incorrectly? All right. So, let's turn back around where point. Yeah, I just wasn't prepared. I was trying to actually turn off the HUD while I was doing that. So, turn off the HUD first. Before we die, before our batteries die, and it's just not gonna be the same. Yeah, it wasn't the same. Oh well. Alright. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Gonna let that charge for a second. Turn off all available systems. Oh, we've been messing around. How much fuel do we have? Alright, yeah, we don't have a lot to be messing around with. You know what? How far are we from the Cove launch site? Not far. Let's see. All right, we are going to head back, refuel the craft. Yeah, we're gonna head back, refuel the craft, put it back out in the water, and just head straight for our mission. But that was a good test of our systems and of the ability. Oh yeah, let's see, because we still have water in our ballast, right? Oh, but we ran out of electric charge. Yeah. Let's see, does our emergency stage work? All right, let's head down. That's what I want to test, is because we put our abort stage back. Yep, that absolutely vented our ballast. See, that's what we needed to do. All right, sorry for that beeping noise, but the splashdown was great. Anyways, I'll see you here in a second. Oh, where? Yeah, I'll see you here in a second. So it just goes to show that the mod crash simulation, where you can test, is very important, but there is nothing like the real world to teach you. So I am actually, see these solar panels, those were foolishly put on there thinking that the water physics wouldn't destroy them, but that was basically useless. I just spent quite a lot more time than necessary trying to do that again, running into different problems that I had in my test flights. So I'm gonna do a night of thinking, might do a quick redesign on the back end of this. I think I will add that, there we go. I think I will add that Drill-O-Matic and the fuel converter, so I will be able to make fuel on the go, because we burn through so much of this fuel so quickly, because this is just an energy hog trying to get down there. And unfortunately, we need this big beefy engine to push us, otherwise it'll take us forever. One thing I did notice, I want to change the seabed distance to be about like 15. 10. Be about 40. Well, okay, so 50 is all I get. All right. So yeah, so we are going to take a night to think about this. We're going to work on it. And in the next episode, in the next KXP episode, you'll probably end up seeing the results of it, because I'll probably end up letting them have the designs, because they have a bunch of kerbals down at the bottom in their sea lab, because they were so kind enough to launch it for us, that they need to go rescue. And in order to do that, they need a strong, capable craft. So I'll probably end up lending it to them. Not sure, we may figure something else out, but if not, regardless, in the next POV episode, we're going to be taking these kerbals once again back down, probably in the Argo 3, with a few slight designs, or maybe some major designs, we'll see. And we're gonna go take those kerbals to that sea lab, because that is ultimately the mission. I want to, okay, sneak peek about what the ultimate mission is, right? So we're going to Eve. That's our next thing, is the Eve program. And we need to have a flyby, we need to land a probe, all that stuff. I want to land one of our probes in the water, in the oceans of Eve. And then I want us to go send this submarine, or a submarine like it, and a sea lab, like, not like the one that we made, I think a better one. I think we're going to make something better. But we're going to send a sea lab out there, and the submarine is going to go find the probe, collect the science, bring it to the sea lab. They may have enough life support to last for the next 450 years. We don't know. They may be staying there, because in our challenge of conquering the entire kerbal system, we never said that we had to bring their kerbals back, just that we had to plant the flag. So we may have a congratulations on your new colony sort of situation ahead, but don't tell them. Well, everyone, that is where I'm going to leave today's episode. I am so excited to keep going this underwater adventure of ours. This underwater world Parallax Continued provides us, that makes this game that we love so much just that much more complex, that much more eerie. I absolutely love it. Being down at the bottom of the ocean in the inky black depths at night was quite the spookiness that I enjoyed and I like in my games. So I'm excited for the next episode, and I hope you are as well. But anyways, that is where I'm going to leave today's episode. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're looking forward for more KSP POV. If you did think about subscribing, drop me a like, let me know your thoughts, and I will see y'all in the next one. Take care.